So, hi, it's Adele, and I'm here in Bibby Gignilliat's studio in Sausalito, and we are going to work together. She's going to show me her techniques, and I am all ears and all whatever she has to share with me, and we're going to talk a lot while we do it. I told her I'm not thinking, I'm just responding because I don't believe in thinking too much. So, let's get started.
I'm super excited to be working with you today, and I'm thrilled to show you my mixed media process, particularly for building texture. So let's just get started.
Okay.
Okay, so you're working with raw umber, some golden, but you also could use Nova Color or any other kind of acrylic.
Okay.
And I'm working with house paint that I put in this condiment bottle here.
Okay.
And I just put it using a funnel to get it in the condiment bottle. And I just use regular indoor house paint.
Matte, satin.
It doesn't really matter because ultimately we're going to put a top coat on it that's varnish. And so I could use whatever I want. And so you may have friends in the neighborhood that want to give you their house paint.
Yeah.
You know, you put it on next door and you'll suddenly have a whole collection of house paint.
Cool.
But let's get started. So
Okay.
These are a 14 by 14 wood panel that I got from Blick. And then what you'll want to do is we put yours out on a plate to kind of thin it out a little bit by spritzing it with water and then mixing it.
Okay.
And mine I'm just going to put directly on.
I love the consistency. Did you
Yeah.
pour the paint right from the?
Yeah.
And so you haven't thinned it out at all? That's not thinned
Not at
out?
all. And the beauty of house paint, a lot of times people will say, how do you get such great drips? And I get great drips because I just use house paint right out of the bottle. So I'm just using this house paint roller. And as you can see, why do you think I might use a roller? You have any ideas?
No. It's,
Okay.
well, it goes on quick.
Well, look how quick we're putting it on. So we're being efficient, but it also goes on really evenly. So, and you know how there's a lot of times when you use a brush, there's brush marks.
Yeah.
There's no brush marks here.
One of the things I wanted to come, and Bibby was so wonderful to show me all this and to work together with me, is because her work is so interesting. And I see so many abstract artists, but hers stands out in many ways to me. Her marks, her process, the house paint, how she does collage, and we love collage. So
Can I hire you to be my PR agent?
I just
In
love
your
it.
spare time?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, so I just love it. And so anyway.
So one
Yeah,
of the
look.
things I like about these rollers is, look, I've got this up on its edge. Now for the edge, it's really easy to get the sides. And you may choose to leave the edges, you may choose to tape the edges if you want. But I always like to bring the paint around, and even the collage around the edges, because the edges are very much part of the painting.
That's interesting because we have different ways of working. I never do an edge. I never do it around the edge, but I will see what happens.
So this is all painted nice and even.
She does it a lot more quickly than I do.
Well, we're talking, and I was able to squeeze mine on, and
Yeah.
so you can use any kind of paint that you have, except for I wouldn't probably do oil in this method.
Yeah.
But house paint is super easy and
I
fun
love
to
your
use.
color too. I like to start
Yeah,
with
well-
either really bright or really dark colors. And by the way, Bibby asked me ahead of time, what colors should I prime that I want? And I said either dark, raw umber, or a bright color. I said bright pink, but I love that color.
Well, what's so great is it's spring right now, and this is very earthy, and this is very, plant-based. And
Yeah.
so it's going to feel very springy as we work together today.
Cool.
So we're going to take a pause and come back to do the next step. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next step. And this is one of my favorite steps, which is laying down papers. And, I collect papers, so they're kind of like a diary of my life.
I love that.
So this is like, I used to play the flute, so this is some old sheet music. The other night I was with some friends and we played Scattergory, so I just took the piece and I said, I'll collage it in.
So you keep everything.
I keep a lot of things. This is a dress pattern. Somebody gave me this bingo paper. So, these are all fun things you can keep for your collage layer. And,
Yeah.
and they really are like a diary of your life. And it's all being repurposed, so you feel really good about it, too.
I love it. And just so you know, she's got plastic tubs over there that I picked some things from that are like several that are like this and digging. So get a plastic tub, start throwing everything in there.
Yeah, just like from the Container Store. And now I've got this reputation in the building that everybody drops off their old papers.
Oh, how
and so,
wonderful.
You know, one day I came into my studio and a big bin of maps from California and all over the world actually were in this bin. And I have to really be careful now what I take because I don't have any room. Anyway, let's get started.
Okay.
So this is a really fun technique for layering papers. What you do is, this is a thicker paper. So for thicker papers, I dip them in water.
This is a thicker paper. This is like this.
Yeah, now
Should I not use that?
That's really thick, and so you can use that. But
maybe I'll put it on the side.
What I would do is dip it in your water and let it soak.
Okay.
And then for these thinner papers,
Okay.
this is a mid-sized paper, so I'm just dipped it in water. Yeah, that's a perfect one for you to just dip in.
This is like from a bag. So
yeah, that's a bag. I have a lot of gift bags, like if a friend gives you a gift.
Yeah.
You dip it in the water. And why do you think I might be dipping in the water? Any ideas?
Well, because I've taken her online course, and if you haven't, take the online course and you'll understand more. But it's to kind of, I guess, with the fiber, it makes it softer.
Yeah.
And so it goes on without any bubbles.
Exactly. And also paper shrinks when you wet it.
Oh, okay.
And so if you put the medium or varnish on it and it shrinks, it'll leave bumps. So this will help make the bumps fewer. And so what I'm just going to do here now is dip it in my varnish. And I'll talk about the varnish in a second, but let me get the first bit down. So just put
Do I do the same thing now?
Yeah, do it. It's the back
Whatever she does, I'm
side of
doing.
the varnish, the back side, and then you turn it over. So it's like the varnish is your glue.
Okay.
And then I'm wrapping it over the edge like so, because the edges are very much a part of the piece.
Now, I typically don't do that. You all know that from the academy, but I'm doing everything she tells me to.
Okay, maybe you'll be sorry, but I'm just kidding. But anyway, and then I'm using, this is a printmaking tool, a brayer, and it helps me to get it around the edges, and look at how nice and flat it becomes. And so I just get all the bumps out. Between wetting it and using the brayer, it really helps get it to go down evenly. And I'm not really thinking right now. Are you thinking, Adele?
No thinking.
No,
you all know from the academy, I say don't think.
Yeah.
Purely use your intuition. Whatever you say, that's it.
This is a placemat. Isn't this fun? You can get these on Amazon, and they're just they come in all different colors, and so you might have
I love
nice
this.
little edge, and that's really fun to go around the edge. So go ahead and dip it again, and then brush it with the varnish. And let me talk to you about this varnish. I often get in my online class questions from people like, what if I don't have the varnish? Well, all you need to do is use matte medium or Mod Podge or whatever. You can use gloss medium, matte medium, Mod Podge, Elmer's glue with water, mix with water. Use what works for you, but I like this varnish because it's UV mold and mildew protected, and it's kind of a one-stop shop because it becomes my glue, but it's also my top coat.
This is why I wanted Bibby. Everything she does around this is totally different than what I do, and this is one of the things I want to encourage you all. Do things totally different than how you normally do them.
So this is a really fun wrapping paper scrap that I got at, this one I bought, but look how fun that is.
I think I've seen that before. I thought it was cool.
It's I got it at the paint supply store. They sell some cool paper, so I'm going to put that one down.
Is this soft enough yet?
Yeah, that's soft enough. And what I like about that is it's going to leave a nice relief. So let's talk about that. When you have really thick scraps like that, you leave them in the water for longer.
Yep.
But also, like if it still doesn't soften enough or doesn't go down easily enough, you can use like a gel medium to get it to go down.
Okay.
So, but it looks like yours softened pretty nicely.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about all the water and everything, but
We're not worried about anything.
yeah. And this is something I got at a flea market in Morocco. It's got Moroccan writing on it, so I'm just going to
Basically, dip and go.
dip and go. And there's some things, speaking of dipping, there's some things I will not dip. Let me talk about that.
Okay.
Like I'm not going to dip tissue paper because it'll just fall apart.
Okay.
And I usually save the tissue paper for the top layer anyway.
Look, am I putting too much on here?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you're putting it on the back side, remember. You don't need to put it on the top side.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Just remember, no back side, no top side. It's like a glue. So when you
Okay.
put glue on something, you put it on the back side.
Okay.
So go ahead and
Yep.
get that down.
I love it. I love
And
it.
then
It's
I
such a
got the-
different technique. Oh,
Bingo. Like most of the green is going to get covered up. You don't have to cover all of it up, but most of it
Oh.
will get covered up. And then I'm going to come in with, this is a dress pattern, and maybe I'll put some of that in, or let's see. Oh, this one I kind of like. This is a nice piece of paper. I'll come in with that. This is sort of a delicate paper, so I'm not going to dip it.
okay.
But what you can do is just spritz it a little.
And I can
Like so.
leave, yeah. This is so fun to do something totally different after my whole life has been spent doing it like a certain way.
Yeah. So it's like getting out of your comfort
Yes.
zone.
Oh,
Is
the
what
best.
makes it great. We're both not really thinking when we're doing this, because I find the best art often comes from being in a no-think state.
Oh, you see, we think alike.
Or don't think alike.
Don't think alike. Absolutely. And really, this is what I tell all my Academy members all the time. Don't think, because that's what I think, that's where the majority of people, I think, get stuck. When the thinking starts, you get stuck.
Yeah, and what I like to say is, the frontal lobe of the brain is where the analyzer is, and we all need to use the analyzer to make decisions and such. But the center of the head is where the intuitive center is,
Yeah.
and that's where most of the magic happens. So it's kind of a dance between the two. So it's like a figure eight between the two.
Yeah.
But right now, we don't really need to think because we're just putting this paper down, and most of it's going to get covered up. We're just building texture.
And also, I've already done my like one layer, but you do multiple layers, right?
You can do multiple layers. This is a fragile piece of paper, so
Okay.
I'm just going to put it directly on top. And we are almost done with this step.
This is from like an old,
Oopsie.
is this like too thin?
Oh no, that's it. That you don't even need to dip, but you
Okay.
can dip it if you want.
Okay.
I'm going to put one more scrap down, and maybe you put one more down,
Okay.
and then we'll go to the next step.
Okay.
See, that's your brush. I'm going to steal
yeah.
it from you.
Go for it.
This is algebra homework with some fun marks on it. So
Get out all your old cool things and start doing things with them.
okay, so this final layer, I'm just going to brayer everything one last time.
Okay.
Go ahead and brayer everything, and then I'm going to dry it off a bit.
Okay.
Just
You keep
using-
going. That's good.
I'm using
Oh.
this paper towel roll to just dry it off.
Okay.
And these are wonderful. These are called shop towels. And the beauty of these towels is you can get them, on Amazon. But the beauty of these towels is they're really thick, and so they absorb well. And sometimes I'll go up to a painting after I painted something, and I'll do a pull from it. So I'll put this on the painting like so, and just will pull, and it pulls off some of the paint, and then it leaves a really fun mark on the shop towel, and then I'll collage it in.
So you use that as collage.
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
But what my favorite story is, a friend of mine who's
I see.
really responsible used one roll in her art in a whole year.
Really?
She washed them in the washing machine.
These are durable.
Yeah. So we can just get rid of this right now, put it down below.
Yep.
And then I'm going to bring up this paint. I'm going to
Look.
put the varnish over here.
Ta-da. That's my layer.
That's mine.
Oh, cool. I
And
love that.
kind of doesn't matter so
Yeah.
much because a lot of this is going to get covered up if you want. You don't have to. A lot of times my students will say they like this layer so much that they
Don't want to do anything?
want to cover it up much. But what I'm going to do now is get out this Benjamin Moore mascarpone. It's one of my favorite colors.
This is
We'll put it
another
right
thing you
here.
learn in her online class.
And it's interior latex house paint. And it doesn't really matter, again, what the finish is. It's just, I think, maybe a flat finish. I can't remember. Maybe it's semi-gloss. But it doesn't matter because the ultimate top layer is going to be this varnish. So this can be matte. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
And then what I do is I take this mason tool, and this is used for spreading plaster and things like that.
Yeah.
And what you're going to just do is dip it into the mascarpone and watch me first, and then and you can just come down and look at how it leaves that cool window, so it's almost sheer. So you can make it more solid like this, where it's more flat, or if you leave it more up like that, it leaves more of a window. So I'm not going to tell you what to do. You know what to do. And see how it leaves these organic openings? And some of it's going to get covered up, but I'm going to leave some of it showing.
I love that. I have a trowel that I use all the time, but it's not this kind of trowel.
Yeah, this is a German trowel, and
I love seeing the surprises that happen, you know?
Yeah. So see, like, you don't see much of the under layer or of color, and look how pretty this looks with the white here. And you can see some of this stuff coming through. And again, you don't have to cover up as much as I did if you've got some precious things on here. But what I tell people is save some of your most precious scraps for last. Like this is more the under layer, so you don't need to put the love letter your mom and dad sent to each other on the lower level. You can get a Xerox of them or a copy of them and bring them in later on.
Good idea. And
yours looks great. Look at all your little wonderful organic windows.
Yay!
You couldn't paint that if you tried, because this just leaves this organicness on here.
Love it.
And again, the paint might go over the edges.
Yeah.
See how it goes over the edge?
Love it.
And that's okay. It drips down on the edge, and we are ready to take a pause and let this dry.
Okay.
So we have let our pieces dry. And now we're going to start in with the design phase.
Okay.
And
we were just talking, by the way, about design.
Yeah.
And we've been talking the whole time about thinking. And Bibby was looking at her piece and turning it around a little bit. And I said, so are you thinking yet? And she said, a little bit. And I said, I'm not thinking yet.
Which is good.
So we'll see what happens.
There's no right or wrong way.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I've gotten some better scraps. When I say better scraps, like these are my prime favorite kind of scraps. So for example, this one is so colorful, I want to put it on the top. And then this is a billboard scrap I got on a trip to Chicago. So this is what I consider a primo scrap. So I'm going to put it on top. And you've got some really good primo scraps, and
I have a lot more over here. Yeah,
Adele can tell you I've sorted my scraps based on the underlayer versus kind of on the top layer. So we got these scraps out of the bin for the top layer. So if you have a really sentimental piece, like a letter from your camp counselor to your mom saying what a great camper you were, or whatever it is, and if you want to put that on the top, put it in a different bin. So we've got a lot of different options of things to do here, including paint, and this is my paint caddy that I got at the Container Store.
this is the coolest thing ever. And are these acrylics?
These are all acrylics that I've mixed, and I take Benjamin Moore Super White, which is a white, and then I mix other colors in with them, or sometimes I'll use paint tints.
Okay.
Do you know what those are?
No.
Okay, I'll show you.
Because these containers are fantastic. And I typically like to mix on my palette, but this,
I can't find it. Catherine, this is
just
so this is a paint tint that you get from the paint store, and painters use it to color paint to be able to make their own colors. So you just mix it in with a Benjamin Moore Super White, for example, and you can make these colors. And I've got these in all different colors. This one's, I think, a sienna, burnt sienna.
Huh.
Isn't that interesting?
Very. So you use the paint tint, to make these colors.
Yeah, in these little caddies. And when I'm working on a painting and I want to use a color over and over, I'll mix them in here in advance sometimes, or sometimes as I'm into the process. Like this one is this color right here.
And Bibby does these really large ones, so in doing that, it's really good to have something like that.
Yeah, and sometimes if I need a lot, I'll put them in these paint containers you get at the paint store.
Oh, wow.
So, all right, let's get started. And I'm not going to tell you what to do at this point. You know what to do. And I'm just going to start in and that we can just, okay. Ready?
Yep.
On the mark, get set, go.
So we do the same thing. We pick one out and put it, drip it in here, dip.
Dip and drip, no.
I have to tell you which ones I picked out. Just a commentary. I have 10 grandchildren, and so I love their work. And Bibby had one of these from, she said a neighbor drew it for her, and I love this.
She's like a little earth angel who
Okay.
you might need a brayer.
Oh, okay. So we're doing the same process. It's like, oh, okay.
You're just wetting them and then brayering down. And I'm covering up some of the white, but leaving some of the white. And if I want to bring any of the underlayer back, I can just dip a sponge in water and scrub a little bit to get some of this underlayer to come back.
Oh, yeah.
I may or may not want
Are you doing it on the rough side?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's kind of a worn out sponge. There, this is coming back.
And again, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm approaching, I've never done this before, okay? I'm approaching this layer like I did the first layer.
So I brought that back a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And then I'm just gonna keep going. Let's see.
So we just layer, do
Yeah.
this, keep doing it? Okay.
You can do this and,
And do we fill up the whole page or you,
no, I'm just gonna make a design now.
oh, okay.
And so this is kind of a lot, this striped paper, so I'm pushing it back a little bit with another piece of paper here.
Oh, I forgot to dip this. That's all right.
That's okay. It's a very forgiving process. This is a chocolate bar wrapper. Now I'm letting you in on my weakness here.
Chocolate, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, numbers. I love writing. Okay. Is this the final layer?
Yeah, pretty much for right now.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we'll put varnish on it as the very final layer.
This is hard to know what to do here. Now, a little bit of thinking is coming into play, but not a lot. Oh, I love, this is,
Yeah, my laundry.
yeah, but I love the color. One piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm putting this one down.
Okay.
This is a tag from
Oh, I love that
LA
color.
parking tag.
I have that color here, yeah. Okay.
I'm doing very springy colors because I'm resonating with spring.
One of the things I love about your work is how you have a tendency, at least in my eyes, to do things in certain areas and then you leave a big area kind of blank and fill it in,
White.
which is what I'm thinking about. That's the only thinking I'm doing in this is like, I love that idea.
That looks really good so far. It's really looking good.
Yeah, I like this so far. So this I don't need to, yeah.
You're absolutely right. You just put the tissue down
Yeah.
and then you brush over it, or if it's a delicate scrap, you know, you do it that way. So I think this is pretty
Cool.
good right now. So I'm going to leave that and towel sponge it off. And then I might add some paint.
Okay. I do want a black and white thing. I love black.
You know what
and
I'm
white.
going to do is I'm going to do some spray paint. Have you?
Oh, I have never used spray paint, so I'm going to watch Bibby and then I'm going to do something.
Okay, so I've got these stencils that you can get on Amazon, and there's a lot of good options. And I'll just put it down, and this is a Montana water-based spray paint.
Okay.
And we can't use oil-based in the building. We have to go outside, so I just use these water-based ones. And I'll just lay it down on the painting where I want it to go. And you have to shake this up a bit.
Okay.
And sometimes these get clogged, and if they get clogged, we're going to need another nozzle.
Okay.
And if I wanted to, I could have left paper around here to protect it, but I didn't. And look how fun that
That
was.
is very cool. I love the negative space here.
Yeah. So while that's drying, I'll watch you or help you do one if you want to do one.
Yeah, I'm going to try one. I'm going to put this
Okay.
black because I love black on mine. I love this piece. Did you make this piece or did you find this piece?
I think either I made it or one of my students made it. I had a 3-day workshop in here, and I think That was one of the ones my students might have made.
Well, whoever made this, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just drying this off a little bit with the towel. And again, you can incorporate this into your work if you liked this.
That is cool. I got a couple, she's got tons of stencils here. I am going to use, I like this is a like circular stencil.
It
and I'm
kind
going
of goes with the dots there.
yeah.
Right?
And so I'm going to put it over here and there's a blue. And so I can just leave it like this.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. Oh, see, it's clogging. So I gave you
That's
this
cool,
other
though.
nozzle.
I
Yeah,
like
you could
that.
just leave it like that.
I like that. Mistakes are great. What can I say?
Exactly. Look
Look how
great
cool that is. All
Oh,
right.
wow, that's
a done
wonderful. That's wonderful. And now, if you feel like it, and I mean, that could be done right there, I think. It's so good.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
But I do like, one of the things I love, and I want to try it because I'm here with you, this is a question. She is so fabulous. I have shape envy. Shapes are hard for me to think of. And you just seem so natural, like, yes, line, but I love the over exaggerated that takes up a whole, a lot of your composition and your design. And so, I mean, all around here, there are tons of different ones. So how do you come up with those? And I'm going to do one here, and I don't know what it's going to be yet. It's going to probably be with some of this paint.
Well, first of all, I just want to comment that I have trouble at times coming up with shapes as well, and I have to rewrite that story. I listened to a video last night, and it was talking about just say the opposite of that story. So maybe it's like you come up with millions of shapes.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna come up with a great shape.
If you want, and we may want to dry this a bit before the next step. Let's get this dry.
Okay, we're gonna pause again.
Okay, great. So we've dried these, and now we're just going to keep going.
Final layer, right?
Yeah. So you said you wanted to do some line work, and I'm just going to keep going over here. I want to put a little tissue down, and this is a great opportunity to put tissue down on the top layer. I'll just go instead of going under. I mean, I'll just go like that, and then.
So this is just tissue paper, regular tissue paper.
Regular tissue, and look how it's cool because you can see through to some of that writing, and I think that makes it look pretty interesting.
Very, very interesting.
Okay, you go ahead.
And I'm trying to think.
Line.
I am going to draw. This is where I was telling Bibby about painting eyes. If I had brought them, this is where I decide because I do like the whole thing, so I don't want to cover up a lot of stuff. But I want one big shape over here, and I'm just going to kind of like this, I don't know what it's going to be. That's going to be it.
I love it.
So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to paint it. Can I use this?
You sure can.
So I'm going to paint it with this blue-green.
Nice.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I'm trying to decide what color to use. I think I'm going to use this color. I love this color with blue. And I'm just going to draw a giant shape on here.
Okay. And I do love lines, so I am probably going to draw, I mean black and white lines. So I like,
You go ahead.
we're doing
Then we're
opposite.
having,
Yeah. Very cool.
Rush hour at the paint bin.
Yes. Yes, very cool. Okay.
Okay, so there we have it. And I may bring back in a little of this at the end here.
Now, do you leave this in here?
Yeah,
Okay.
just leave that in there.
Okay. And one other thing I just found this one I love, Inside Out Cart, and I love this black. So I'm going to do that.
Maybe that's a
with
good name for the painting.
Inside Out?
Yeah.
Yes. That is, oh yeah. I'm not used to doing it in here, but I like that.
Now I'm thinking a little bit because I'm trying to get my final piece on here, and this one might be too busy. So I'm gonna pause and go get another scrap. Be right back.
I'm gonna keep working, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
Just keep working, and I'm gonna try things now. I'm really liking where it's going, so I don't wanna do too much.
Looking super super good.
And I do love the China marker and I love the drawing, so I'm not sure. There. Maybe something over here. Okay. This was, oh, the blue. You can't predict these accidents and they're just so cool. I'm gonna put something here. I want it to come to the bottom visually.
Just get one more strap over here.
Okie doke. And Bibby's got this paint. I'm gonna use this. This was just laying here, so I'm just gonna do this. Like that. Anything else? Checking to see anything else. Now I kind of am thinking, but I don't want to overdo, you know?
Uh-huh. So over here, what I'm trying to do is activate the space with a little black, but I don't want it to go all the way up because I don't want to cut the painting in half. So I might do that, but I also might consider doing some of this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this
What is that?
mulberry paper, which you get through, let's see. Not sure about this.
See how, oh, look, see how you did those? I love that.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is tear this up. Do you want a little bit of it?
I might. Thank you.
If you want more, I have more.
Oh, this is good. And does it, is this like deli paper where, you know, where if you put it down, then you see it's kind of transparent?
Yeah, so you just put it down like that and come back in with the varnish. That one's got blue on it, so I'm just gonna use this one.
Kind of like that over there. But again, now, am I overworking it? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
You know, this is a very forgiving process, so if you feel like you've overworked it, all you need to do is go back in and paint over it. And
Yeah.
Okay, so
Oh, this is kind of cool. Yep, I'm gonna just do that. There we go. Ta-da. Now, I just love these. Okay, thank you, Bibby. Oh, do I want to do any more of these colorful kids pieces, which I love. It reminds me of my grandchildren.
yeah, my little neighbor is like an earth angel, and she's helping the postman. She's, you know,
How cute is that?
she walks down the street and collects garbage, and
Wow, she's a fantastic one.
yeah,
Okay,
look,
I'm gonna do this.
there we go.
Oh, look at that.
So I like to use a lot of black because it helps activate the space.
Uh-huh.
And what I might do is put a little bit of this over it, like so. Pushes it back a little bit. And then I'm gonna call it
I love that.
done.
Done. I'm not sure. I'm still working on something. Oh, I like this line. So I'm gonna see. I'm in the trying things out stage, the last stage.
I think it's looking pretty good.
Love yours. See how she does naturally that big thing there. So okay, this or this. This might be too much. So I'm gonna do which one? That or that? I'm just gonna close my eyes and do one. But
There you go.
there.
That's wonderful.
Ta-da!
Okay, so now
Done
the
and
next
done.
step is we've got to dry this.
Okay.
And once it's dried, we'll put the final layer of varnish on and be done.
Okay.
Right?
We're gonna pause.
Okay, so we're at the last stage, which is applying the varnish and kind of figuring out the orientation. And I'll often paint something one way, so I painted this painting this way, but
Uh-huh.
I kind of think it's fun to spin it around
Okay.
and see, like, I think it looks pretty good like that, actually, or it's fun like that, or it's fun like that. And so sometimes when I spin it around like this, I'll decide to change the orientation, and I kind of like it like this right here. What I'll do in my classes when students come is they'll paint one way, and then at the final gathering, because we have a glass of wine and talk about the day, we'll go reach students' work, and I'll often rotate it and the group votes.
Oh,
And
wow,
so
that is
sometimes
fun.
people will say they didn't really like their work, and then they rotate it, and it becomes a whole new painting, and they love it suddenly.
Yeah.
So it's super fun. And like this painting, for example, here, I had it flipped 180, and I work in this amazing building in
Yeah.
Sausalito of 180 working artists, and I always will call on certain artists like Mariah, who you're going to see
Yep.
later today, or Gordon, or
Right.
Rachel, or whatever, and they'll come down and they'll give me a critique. And Mariah said on this one, why don't you do 180 flip? And Catherine also, my assistant,
Yeah.
is really good at this too. So I'll do a 180 flip. And I flipped this and then spent about an hour reworking it because the drips were all the wrong way. But I think this is the better orientation. So
Well, and that's one of the things, so many people, I mean, most artists always ask me, or students, even, you know, like, it doesn't matter how long you've been working, I've been working forever, but it's like, how do you know when a painting is finished?
I love that question.
I read somewhere that one artist said, and I love this, it's not necessarily finished, you just decide to stop at a certain place. So
Totally.
it doesn't feel so final and like, oh, it's not resolved, like, I'm gonna stop because, and for what reason, it feels right to me.
Great. And what I find is something feels right today, and then maybe 6 months you'll be sitting there and there's a niggle. And you're like, oh, I forgot to do this, or now that I know how to do this, I'm going to modify that. So I'm in the process right now of up-leveling all my work.
Really?
There's older work that I just have been getting niggles on, and so I've been up-leveling them, and it feels really good.
What a cool word, niggle.
Yeah.
I love that. And so
Let's
you
look
turned
at
around-
this.
Yeah.
Like, let's turn yours around. Like,
So, and
it,
then-
it kind of works any way you do it, and that's always the sign of a good painting. Like this kind of is a cool orientation, but
Yeah.
this is, and this is. So, what you may consider doing on this piece is you may consider stringing it a couple ways.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I'll string it 2 ways, and then my client can decide what they prefer. And another fun thing I'll do is I will take pictures of it in different orientations, and I'll post it on Instagram, and I'll ask my following to vote. And it's always really interesting to learn from other people.
Yes. And for me, this last stage in deciding what direction is about weight. Mine is weight. So when I look at it, like, to me, does it feel balanced? And again, it's an internal feeling. Everyone's going to have a different opinion. But to me, there's weight here, even though it's balanced over here, and it's light up here. You know, there's not as much weight. And this way, again, it's like, I feel it internally, like, And so if I were to do it in any other direction, I would maybe add something else. And I typically work in a triangular, you know,
Nice.
thing, so it would go like that. And so I don't know if I'm going to keep it that way. We'll see.
Okay. Well, let's just put, actually, let's get some nice nylon brushes, and we get these on Amazon. They're so nice, and they make for great finishing coats. And I always put 2 layers of this varnish on. Now, I often get asked, what if, you don't want to buy this varnish, which you get on Amazon or at a paint store. And I recommend the green can, which is an outdoor boat varnish, actually, and it was recommended to me by a faux finisher.
Okay.
And so what you do is just put 2 coats of this down, and it will protect it from UV.
Okay.
Perspective.
Thin coats.
Yeah.
And you all in the Academy have seen me use this brush all the time. And just so you know, I'll put a link to, I'll take a photo and I'll put a link to what it looks like to get the varnish.
And see how mine is going around the edges, and that's kind of cool.
That is very cool. So, but if you frame it, then you won't see that. So
Yeah.
would you frame that, or do you, because I see
Can't
most
frame
of it.
Okay, so let me just go get a frame.
Yeah.
I'll show you.
Yeah, and I do that with a lot of mine in the, when we're filming, like at the end, like here's what it looks like framed, and sometimes you can decide, like when you see it in a frame, you can tell what direction. Okay. Okay, so there.
Okay, so this is a frame, but you can tell I've used it a lot in my classes, and the paintings have been wet when I've used it, but you can kind of get the idea. of how it just elevates the
Oh,
painting.
yes, yes.
Right? Let's
Yes.
put yours in it and to just check.
Okay, and I'm going to just, okay, let's see.
Oh, look, gorgeous.
And
So
so,
again, if this were, clean.
yeah. And so, yeah.
And what you can do, this was a frame for a thicker panel. So
Oh, okay.
what you would do is you wouldn't want to have it that recessed, but you get the idea. This is not the right frame for this.
But it's a way to see it in a
But it's a way
different
to
light.
see it, exactly.
And again, if you still can't decide when it's sitting there, if you put it in here and then move it around like we were doing, you might feel something differently. Like for
like it
instance,
like that.
me too, because now I'm noticing these lines over here where I didn't notice them before.
Uh-huh.
So again, in the triangular way, it's like here and here and here. And and then this here. So I might end up doing it like that.
Wonderful.
Who knows? But anyway, I like this. Yeah, I love to check. And oh yeah, the sides.
Look at your sides.
Woo!
Look at how good your side. Look at that.
I know, look how fun.
Yeah, so that's super fun. And so you don't need to frame it because the sides end up becoming part of the painting, but you may choose to frame it.
Yeah.
And I usually recommend doing at least 2 at a time so you can have a diptych if you want. You don't have to, but you can have a diptych.
Yeah. I like working in multiples too. I mean, you could do a whole series where you lay all these out. Now
Exactly.
these are 14 by 14, right?
Yes.
And then the cradle part is how, an inch? Or is
it's
it
3/4?
3/4?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I used to have my panels custom made for me, and it was 1.5 inches on the sides or something, and that's what this frame is for.
Right.
So it didn't recess as much as the ones we just did. But gosh, I think this is highly, really successful. You did a great job.
Bibby, I love yours. Yay!
Yeah,
This is a whole new experience. And yes, you can believe I'm going to be doing more of these. And I just can't thank Bibby enough for welcoming us in her studio. She was so prepared. I love her work. I love her. And so thank you.
Yeah, and I want to thank Catherine.
And
my
Catherine, her
for helping.
assistant.
And yeah, so anyway, thank you so much.
And go look her up. Why don't you tell everybody how they can reach out to you or find you?
I've got a couple different ways you can reach out to me. You can just go straight to my website at bibbyart.com, and it's like Libby with a B, BIBBY, art.com, or they can go to Instagram, Bibby G Art is my Instagram handle. So both places, and you can learn about my online class there, and you can also learn about my in-person classes.
And they're all booked. I mean, her in-person classes sell out right away. I've taken her online class and I highly recommend it. So if you want to try this with a guided thing like I had, definitely take the class.
And I'm going to hire you for PR. Okay.
Thank you for joining. See you in the next video.
Bye.